And we're back on Southeast Texas Weekly to talk about some local candidates. Who is, maybe you're not endorsing this particular candidate, maybe you are, but if you're not endorsing, who's looking particularly strong and who do you think can win some of these races where we have several candidates in a primary? Who do you think can win? I start with you.
Well, for County Court at Law Number 3, I will give my endorsement for Judge Terrence Holmes.
Terrence Holmes,
yes.
huh?
He is an ordained minister. He is a God-fearing man. He's also worked with the community. He also has experience as a law professor, as a judge, and really he just seems like an overall person to be the candidate for County Court at Law Number 3.
I open the floor. Which of you gentlemen would like to speak? Who do you think is going to win some of these crucial races?
I think Stanley Hatcher is going to win in the
Stanley Hatcher.
race he's in. What was the guy that's running? Jamie.
Jamie Smith.
He's probably a close second, but I think Stanley's going to win.
We've had Jamie on the show, I believe, before, haven't we?
Yes.
I like
Yes,
both
we
of
have.
them. You know.
City councilman, of course. Anybody you'd like to throw out?
Well, I mean, I'm prohibited from making endorsements, but as far as like some of the national stuff, I mean, I'll tell you right now, you know, looks fairly clear that Stockman's primary run against Senator Cornyn isn't going to fly, and I think that he's a lock for the nomination.
Stockman's going into the history books again.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I like the guy personally. We've had him here before, but you know, I don't see that end up winning on that. I'm sorry, but now as far as like some of the other stuff going on, obviously, I think you know, your governor's going to be great at it, and I think it's going to be determined in the primary.
I hope not.
Yeah, I know you don't. But as far as some of the local races around here, obviously, even on the Democratic side, of course, our good friend Kent Walston, I think he's a lock-in for his open race. But
Think he's a lock in the
Unless somebody comes in.
unless someone, yeah,
think he's
and
a lock in
even-
the primary.
There's,
Well, good.
there's a reason for that, but you know, as far as
Running
some of
unopposed
our,
always works better.
That works pretty well. But I'm trying to stay out of trouble here. You mind? But, there's a couple of the state Supreme Court judge races. I think are a big deal. I think Nathan Hecht is probably going to win that race. I'm hoping he does personally. But you know, as far as that goes, I mean, there's a few key Supreme Court races that's on the ballot for the Republican primary, and there's some very interesting initiatives on both sides.
Vote
Like
Democratic.
the Democratic Party has a resolution to
Just vote
bring
Democratic,
gay
you can't
marriage
go
to
wrong.
states.
Let me jump to this real quick. We have 3 minutes to develop a very broad issue, this matter of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. We're seeing hospital closings all over the country, 4 major hospitals having closed in Georgia as a result, they say, of the Affordable Care Act. Is this an epidemic rising? How could all this be mitigated? We start
You know,
with
if the
Gun
states
Leggett.
that are being stubborn about accepting money for the Medicare and providing some money on their own for Medicare would cooperate, that would alleviate the problem with the Medicare funding a little bit.
Medicaid.
Also,
A
a
little
whole
bit.
lot
If
of
they
these,
would
a
expand
whole
their
lot of
Medicaid.
these hospitals that are closing are not closing because of Obamacare. They're closing because of Wall Street bankers forcing them into insolvency, just the way they forced so many other companies into insolvency.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I am not kidding.
You've got to be
Google it and find out what Google says.
Oh yeah,
Well,
because the internet has absolutely
but
nothing 100% truth
There's
out there, man.
no, okay. Read how many articles talk about the Wall Street bankers and how many articles, non-Republican think tank articles.
I just get the Wall Street Journal. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
well,
Well, but develop this notion of the Wall Street reason that that the hospitals are closing, because they are making the point that they're not getting paid. Kind of the giveaway
the
for
hospitals have
were-
always been between a rock and a hard place here in the medical system. The insurance companies are trying to pay them less, and they're getting all these patients coming in the door, less now thanks to Obamacare, that don't have any money to pay for themselves, and they're having to treat these people, and the money's got to come from somewhere, so they stick it to the patients that can pay. That's why our hospital bills
Let
are
me
so
explain
high.
something to you. We were having this discussion about 3 years ago,
Yes,
and
we
you
were.
swore nothing like this was ever going to happen. You thought we were crazy for bringing up that there might be hospital closures or doctors going out of practice, sort of thing. All this is happening, and yet you still are screaming in the wind that none of this can possibly happen. You said there's about 100 different things that have to happen in order for something like that to go down, and we are currently on step about 57 now.
No. Sorry. It's because we took half a loaf. We should have went with universal single
I know
payment.
that you're trying to break the system so
And
we can have universal
raise
health factor
taxes,
and
raise
so we can
taxes.
raise taxes where we want them.
We
I
need
get
to
that.
raise taxes on the rich.
And guys, do you want this sort of governing style, or do you want
No.
something that actually has free market
No,
system?
you can go with the
That's your
George
options.
Bush style and give all the rich people more tax breaks that they didn't need to begin with. That's where our problem came with the deficit, because we were fighting a war we didn't need to fight, and we cut taxes we didn't need to cut, and here we are, folks.
And that's
stuck.
pretty much our closing place. Thanks for, why don't you guys just Tell us how you really feel on this issue. We love you guys. We appreciate you coming in, letting us know what your thoughts are on these very important issues to our great country. We'll see you next time on Southeast Texas Weekly.
Southeast Texas Weekly, brought to you by the Modern Vein Surgery Institute at Privity Clinic for Surgical Care.